I came home from my dad's funeral to find my driveway jackhammered. My neighbor smiled and said, "You were gone, so I took the extra space." He'd built his new garage over my property line. The police called it a civil matter. I called someone else. What happened next? I got back from my dad's funeral to find my driveway jackhammered into pieces. Still had my dress shoes on. Still had the tie tied around my neck. My eyes felt raw from crying all morning. I just wanted to go inside, take off the suit, and maybe finally break down in private. But the moment I pulled into my street, something didn't look right. At first I thought maybe I was seeing things. Grief does that, I've heard. But no. As I got closer, I saw orange cones. Dust. Equipment. And half my driveway? Just gone. Torn up like someone had taken a giant ice cream scoop to it. There was a small backhoe sitting on my grass. A wheelbarrow with rebar sticking out. And worst of all, fresh concrete being poured that sloped directly into my neighbor's yard. I sat there in the car with the engine running, just staring. Trying to make it make sense. Then Kevin, my neighbor, walks out of his garage like nothing happened. Holding a Dunkin' iced coffee and wearing a dusty gray t-shirt. He gives me this stupid grin. "Hey," he says. "You were gone, so I took the extra space." That's literally what he said. I just blinked at him. My mouth opened but no words came out. He took a sip of his coffee and pointed with his cup. "Expanding the garage. Hope you don't mind. My contractor needed to move fast and I knew you weren't home." I finally got out of the car. "That's my driveway." He shrugged. "Only half. It's right on the line, maybe an inch over. It'll look cleaner when it's done." He said it like it was no big deal. Like this wasn't a massive violation. "I didn't give you permission," I said. Kevin just smiled again. "It's not really yours if it's on my side, is it?" I felt sick. My hands were shaking. I just turned and went inside. I didn't even shut the door all the way. I sat on the bottom step of my stairs and cried. Not just because of the driveway. But because of everything, losing my dad, holding it together all week, and now this. The next day I hired a land surveyor. $900. I couldn't really afford it, but I needed proof. He came out, did his measurements, pulled up the plat map. A week later, I had a report in my hands that said Kevin's new garage foundation was 3 full feet over the property line. 3. Not an inch. Not a corner. 3 damn feet. I walked that over to the police station. The officer behind the glass read it, then handed it back like it was a parking ticket. "Civil matter," he said. "So he can destroy part of my property, pour new concrete, and start building a garage that crosses into my lot, and that's it?" He shrugged. "You'll need to handle that through a lawyer. Boundary disputes are common. Courts handle that, not us." "And if I tore up part of his lawn and put a fence down the middle of it?" "Still civil. Unless there's a physical altercation." I left. I didn't call a lawyer. I called someone else. I called my Uncle Mike. He's not a lawyer. He's not a cop. He's a retired construction guy. Ran crews for 35 years, mostly concrete and framing. But more importantly, he doesn't let people screw with family. I told him what happened. He didn't say much. Just, "I'll be there Saturday. Don't touch anything." Saturday morning, he showed up with a thermos of coffee and a tape measure clipped to his belt. He walked the line with me, paced it out, checked the surveyor's marks, and nodded. Then he said, "We're gonna make this real clear for him." We went to Home Depot and got wooden stakes, red boundary tape, and spray paint. He had me help mark out the real property line, down to the inch. Then we drove them deep into the ground, one every 10 feet. He stood back, arms crossed, and said, "Let's see him smile at this." Kevin came out about 10 minutes later. Right on cue. He looked down at the bright red line that ran directly through the corner of his new foundation and part of his new driveway. "Seriously?" he asked. "You're really gonna do this?" "No," I said. You did this. I'm just showing you where my land ends. He looked at Uncle Mike. And who are you? Someone who knows concrete, Mike said. And lawsuits. Kevin rolled his eyes. I talked to the city. They said my permit's solid. Mike didn't even blink. Permit doesn't override property lines. You're trespassing. Kevin laughed like it was all a joke. Then sue me. Then he walked back inside. Mike turned to me. He thinks you won't. That's what this is. I asked him, what would you do? He looked me dead in the eye. Make it expensive for him. Every damn day. I started documenting everything. Every inch of damage. Every day of construction. Every delivery truck that rolled in. I took photos, videos, and timestamped everything. Then Mike had another idea. We bought a sign. A big one. Planted it right on the property line. Warning, property line dispute in progress, trespassers will be recorded. That sign drove Kevin insane. He came over the next morning, said I was trying to scare his contractors. They asked if they're gonna get sued, he said. They're refusing to finish the garage now. Good, I said. Maybe they shouldn't build on land that doesn't belong to you. 2 days later, a letter showed up. From Kevin's lawyer. It basically said I was harassing him. That my boundary markers and sign were deliberately inflammatory. That if I didn't remove them, they'd seek a cease and desist. Mike read the letter and laughed out loud. That's not how this works. Then we wrote our own letter. But this time, we sent it through my new lawyer. A real estate guy Mike knew. The letter said, remove the garage encroachment. Remove the new driveway slab that crosses into our land. Restore the damaged portion of the original driveway. Or we sue for damages, trespass, and removal costs. Kevin never responded. But a week later, his contractor came back, not to build, but to rip out the concrete. They didn't take out the whole garage foundation. Just the part over the line. Sloppily. Like it was done out of spite. They jackhammered that corner right off and left a jagged hole where it used to slope into my driveway. No cleanup. No smoothing. Just a chunk of busted concrete and dirt, sitting there like a wound. Kevin didn't say a word. I didn't either. I figured it was done. Or close to it. But a month later, I saw a new crew show up. Not the same contractor. These guys had unmarked trucks, no uniforms, and no permits visible anywhere. They worked fast, too fast. By the second day, I realized what was happening. Kevin wasn't fixing anything. He was trying to build a new retaining wall, right up against the line again. He'd moved the garage footprint 1 foot back, still over the boundary. When I confronted one of the workers, he said, "We're just doing what we were told. Talk to the owner." So I did. I knocked on Kevin's door, and he opened it half an inch. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Fixing the slope," he said. "It's legal now. It's still not your land." He tried to shut the door, but I stopped it with my foot. "You do this again," I said, "and I won't go through lawyers. I'll go through code enforcement. I'll report every inch of this. I'll make sure they fine you until you can't swing a hammer without a permit." He said nothing. But that wall was never finished. Then I got the letter from the city. Turns out Kevin had filed a complaint against me. Claimed my boundary sign was an unauthorized structure violating HOA rules. That my new fence, one I'd put up 6 weeks earlier, was aggressive in tone and placement. HOA board wanted to review the matter. That's when it hit me, this wasn't over a garage. Kevin was trying to push me off my own land 1 inch at a time. Make it harder. More expensive. More exhausting. Until I gave up. So I stopped playing nice. I used to think grief was just about losing someone. But after this, I learned it's also about what gets taken from you while you're too broken to fight back. And now, every time I pull into my driveway, I don't see home, I see a line someone tried to cross because they thought I was too quiet to stop them.